Jennifer Huculak is a woman from Canada who wanted to go to Hawaii to vacation, and she did so with her husband when she was 6 months pregnant. Now, before she came to the United States, she knew it would be a good idea to purchase insurance just in case anything happened with her unborn child. So, beforehand, she did purchase insurance through Blue Cross and then traveled to Hawaii with her husband. Now, unfortunately, while she was on her trip, her water broke. According to reports, 2 days into her trip, Huculak's water broke and she spent the next 6 weeks on bed rest in a Hawaiian hospital. Her daughter was born 9 weeks early and spent 2 months in intensive care. Now, here's where the story takes a turn for the absolute worst. She gets a bill from the hospital, and the bill is for nearly $1 million, and Blue Cross refuses to pay any of it. In fact, Blue Cross did send a letter to her, and in the letter to her, the company noted the following: Ms. Huculak was diagnosed and treated for a high-risk pregnancy in the 6 months prior to departure. As Ms. Huculak is currently hospitalized and being treated for high-risk pregnancy, any expenses incurred are not eligible under the terms of your policy. Now, she claims that she didn't have a high-risk pregnancy or any issues like that. She says that she had a bladder infection and that was it. In fact, she even had her primary care physician in Canada write a letter to Blue Cross, but it didn't do anything to change their minds. They refused to pay any of it. And now this poor woman doesn't know what to do. She's like, do we file for bankruptcy? How do we handle this? This is sick.
So what's amazing about this story is that it happens to be a Canadian that just got caught up in what is the normal procedure for us here in America. A great number of us are bankrupted on a regular basis because of medical bills. It's so commonplace that we've almost gotten used to it. Whereas it blows the minds of people living in sane countries. They're like, wait a minute, I just had a normal problem in my pregnancy, and it's not like she risked anything. She was going to Hawaii 9 months pregnant or anything. Kid is born 9 weeks early, etc. So it's way, way early. Mm-hmm. It's nothing she could have anticipated. She did not have a pre-existing condition. It was just an infection that happened after she got the policy, right? But it doesn't matter. See, that's the thing. These insurance companies, you might think like, well, okay, you get insurance and then you have insurance. No, you don't. You have insurance and then you cross your fingers and hope for the best. Any sliver of an excuse they can use, legitimately or illegitimately, and they're done with you. And then what are you going to do? You don't have the $1 million to pay the hospital. You don't have the $1 million to fight Blue Shield, Blue Cross in court. They know you don't have the money, so it's easy to just go like this and you have no power. And here in America, it's commonplace, so what are you going to do? You're not going to do anything. You're just going to declare bankruptcy and you're going to lose everything you have.
I mean, you said it all. I don't even know what else to say about this story. I feel terrible for this woman. I mean, what's the solution? And I mean, I thought through the Affordable Care Act, people couldn't deny you for pre-existing conditions. But apparently, if you already have the insurance, they could deny certain coverage if you had a pre-existing condition, which in this case, she didn't have a pre-existing condition. She had a bladder infection, which is quite common with women who get pregnant, by the way.
And her doctor attested to it. It's not our theory, right? Her doctor says that's the case. So
I don't know what she's going to do, and that's the thing that scares me the most, right? I mean, this is not an isolated incident. This is a story that so many Americans have dealt with so many, around so many decades, right? And you're never really protected. You're never really covered. If anything goes wrong, you're screwed, even if you have insurance.
An enormous percentage of the bankruptcies in America are because of medical bills. That seems insane in any other country, and the fact that we sit there and take it is unbelievable. Obamacare has begun to address some of these issues, as Anna pointed out. Not completely, not by a long shot, and the insurance companies are still in charge. You don't have a public option, you only have private options. Mm-hmm. And then once you have a private option, then the insurance companies can screw you and you don't have much recourse, right, as this woman attested to. And even that slight change in the system, the Republicans and so many others are like, oh, you're taking freedom away. The freedom to get crushed by insurance companies and pay millions of dollars to them when anything slightly goes wrong with your pregnancy. That's the freedom that Obamacare is taking away.
Dude, honestly, this is going to sound really bad and really un-American, but I don't care. If I were a Canadian or if I were a European and I was looking for a nice place to vacation, I would avoid America at all costs, especially if I'm pregnant. There's no way in hell I would even consider it. I just wouldn't. I wouldn't. I don't trust the healthcare system here. I just don't. If I were pregnant, I just would avoid it. And I'm not blaming her. Please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. But if this is the kind of stuff that you have to deal with, if you get sick in America, you're screwed. You go to Europe and you're sick, you walk into a pharmacy and there's someone there that's willing to help you. They don't ask you for insurance. They don't ask you for a ton of money. I remember when I was in Spain, I twisted my ankle. I could barely walk. I walked into a hospital. They helped me out. No questions asked. That's not going to happen here in the United States.
In the U.S., Rush Limbaugh, ironically, a conservative talk show host, had a problem when he was on vacation, and he thought he was having a heart attack. It turns out he wasn't, but he had to go into the emergency room. And he said, "What's the big deal?" Afterwards, he came out and said, "What's the big deal? I paid the bill. It was only the cost of half a Hummer."
Oh my God, I just can't. I can't take that guy.
So it was about $35,000 or so, his bill, and he thought, "Well, what's the big deal?" $35,000 for a false alarm to the emergency room.
You can spend your entire life building your life, right? You can have a career, you can have a nice little nest egg, you can have a nice little family. All you need to do is get sick once, and that entire lifetime of hard work just gets wiped clean. It's scary.
And anyone who tries to fix it, they label as a socialist, a communist, a Marxist, who's going to destroy American liberty, okay? Here, the real liberty is for the rich to get richer and the powerful to get even more powerful at your expense. So be forewarned. This is what America's turned into.